is not as strong as it should be. This economy used to be the largest in the whole Africa. Today, the last time I spoke with your correspondent, we're number 4. Today, we are now number 5. I checked, the largest economy in Southern America is Brazil. It's also the largest country in population. The largest in North America is the United States. It's also the largest population with largest economy. Then you now go to Europe and see in Eastern Europe, you see Russia as the largest economy and also the largest population. Then go to Western Europe, where you meet Germany, the largest population, largest economy. When you come to Africa, oh my dear black Africa, Nigeria is the largest population. It's not the first, it's not the second, it's not the third, it's not the fourth, now the fifth. So how can those two policies be good? It is more than obvious that they were made out of error, they were made in mistakes, and some of us had provided alternative solution to the government. Whether we will take it or not is another kettle of fish. But we cannot say because we have a dig, look for cutlass and beard ourselves, hoping that all will be well. It's like cutting our nose to spite our face. But well, the result is obvious in the public domain. People that are watching us and are listening to us, they are themselves. Are they better off today than they were 2 years ago? They should ask themselves. When we say that at the end of the tunnel, there will be light, the father of modern economics, macroeconomics for that matter, John Maynard Keynes, he said, and I quote, he said, in the long run, we are all dead. Ask anybody, we will go through pain. When will the pain end? Can they tell you it's going to be 1 year? It's going to be 5 years? Funnily enough, World Bank seems to provide this answer. Is that we should wait for 10 to 15 years? Can you continue like this for 10 to 15 years? And I asked in 2016, when I was interviewed by journalists, when Christine Lagarde told Nigeria that, don't worry, this economy will not go into a recession. I said, this economy will certainly go into a recession. I'm in Nigeria. I'm an economist in Nigeria. And I know for sure that this economy will go into a recession. Did you know that as against advice Christine Lagarde gave to President Buhari, Nigeria economy went into a recession? Was I happy? No. But is that the truth? That's what economics is about. It is easy.
Right. You can't lie yourself away from this kind of a situation. Your actions will determine if you are coming out of it or if you are not. Lying your way out of it, gaslighting the people, blackmailing them, calling them enemies or this or that, they will never save you from the doom that your decisions have brought upon that contraption. And it is pretty much so sad. It is so sad. I don't know if this is just a human nature or something. It is so sad that majority of those that spend every day their 8 years of castigating us, calling us names, majority of those Olori Brukus today, they have not come back to apologize for defending the same thing. There's nothing they
Nigeria, we have the largest number of lazy governors in the world. Nigeria, I repeat, we have the highest number of lazy governors in the world. Ebonyi State, they have limestone. Their governor is not doing anything about it. He just come to Abuja every month to collect money and go back. No single factory there, and they have the largest deposit of limestone. Enugu, coal. All of us know, we know how much they are selling coal in international markets. Check it on your phone. But the governor rather come to Abuja to collect allocation every month. Sanfara, gold. The governor, they look away. You know, consign me. Shebi, I'm going to Abuja to collect money. And they are using helicopter, private jet to come and carry his gold away. Because if we go to Abuja and collect allocation, Ondo State, the largest, world second largest deposit of bitumen, even Ondo State, no get road. They no get factory. Even the road where those states get, na import they import am, but the bitumen where they import, they under their feet. Ekiti State, agrarian state. Ekiti State cannot produce single Ekiti yam or single Ekiti product. They even built airport. They lock the airport after commissioning it because they know they are going to Abuja at the end of the month to collect allocation. They use 3 billion to clear land when they can buy tractor. Aba is the biggest market in West Africa, but they sit at home every Monday. Sit at home. Akwa Ibom has the longest sand beach in the world, one of the longest. No single tourist. They didn't even advertise it for tourism. Now laziness. Our governors are very lazy. All they know is come to Abuja, collect allocation, bully your local government. President Tinubu, this your tax reform is one of the best. No going back. No room for lazy governor. Stop spoon feeding them. Let them go and generate revenue.
Nuisance lele.
So you know, okay. I hope my audio is back. Let me check that. Yeah, I think my audio is back. Sorry about that, okay? I had my audio sort of truncated or tampered with. I don't know. That happens. I kind of found it early enough, okay? Talking about the tax reform, I was at my friend's yesterday, and we're talking about how some people are seeing that the tax this and that, okay? And I was like, how about a reform that allows these people, because we call them lazy. Yes, we do call these states lazy and lazy this and that. It's so easy to say. But the most laziest of them all is the center, which has become the big brother that believes that it can take money from all these states in the name of tax or taxes and then share the money back to them. How about you allow every state to actually tax or collect their own taxes, where they can then just pay a certain percentage to the center? You get what I mean? I like, look at it this way. In my own state, the federal government is taking my VAT, for example, and then I do not have a chance to actually tax all these businesses myself. So I have to wait. Now, when they take these taxes from them, the federal government will now take 55% of the money. That is why they will take 55% of the money. The remaining 45% will now be given back to me. So it's like saying, if I take 100% of my taxes, I am paying my big brother, or I'm paying the big brother there, 55% of my money. Who make that same arrangement? So who are we then to turn around and call some of them lazy? When MTN, for example, I'll put it this way, the telecommunication companies in Nigeria, the telecommunication business in Nigeria, right? They are the highest payer of taxes, okay? And their headquarters are in Lagos. Meanwhile, Lagos, what do you call it? Telecommunication users, they only make up about 9% of the total users all over the country, which is still significant, by the way, but 9%, while 91% of their network users, they are scattered all over Nigeria. So when the government at the center want to take or bill them, like tax them from how much money they make in a year, they tax them, I think they take about 11 or 12% or so from them. But because their businesses headquarters are located in Lagos, So the Lagos state government, we then have to tax them for the company income tax or something like that. So which means they pay about 2-3 taxes. 2 of them to the, sorry, about 4 taxes they actually pay. So they pay 2 to the federal government, 1 to the state government, and 1 to the local government. So what that simply means is that when Lagos State want to build them, they will say, okay, how much do you make this year, MTN? Not how much did you make from Lagos this year. It's just going to be how much did you make, MTN. MTN will say, we made 40 trillion naira. Okay, 40 trillion. And how much profit do you make? For example, let's say they say, we make 18 trillion naira profits. So Lagos State government will come and say, well, you are going to pay us 20% of that. So these telecommunication companies alone can pay like up to 300 billion to Lagos State as their own tax to Lagos. Then they pay another maybe 1.7 or 2 trillion naira to the federal government. So why not just let each state, okay, actually bill the consumption bills or the consumption, their consumption tax in such a way that they too can take what they are declaring in Lagos. So MTN can just declare whatever they are making in Lagos, pay it in Lagos, whatever they are making in Ondo State, let Ondo State tax them and collect their own share. Whatever they are making in Kano, let Kano State tax them and collect their share. Whatever they are making in Aba or making in, Imo, rather than all of these people to wait for whatever federal government says they have collected from them. So what about a tax reform that allows that? I'm just saying, because this is the difference when you say they are lazy, okay? And I understand the multiple taxation part of it as well, okay? But somehow, this multiple taxation is what gave a place like Lagos that leverage. So Lagos State can tax these companies, okay? As much as the federal government can tax them too. But the remaining 35 states in Nigeria, they can't tax these companies. They can't take anything from them. It will be considered as multiple taxation, right? So, but if that by any means, right? If that by any means means that the federal government, for example, that takes the chunk of the money because they are the one collecting the money from them in the name of, taxing these companies, then sharing the money, then they should have an arrangement that says, if this money, if these taxes they are taking from these guys, if they are coming from us, like our own contribution, so to say, so then they should determine how much the federal government should take. We'll give you 5%. If you are taking the money on our behalf, okay, we'll give you 10%. Not take more than half of it. And then turn around and say, oh, they are lazy. On the part of this laziness as well, then they should also reveal the, what do you call that thing again? Is it exclusive list, or what do you call it? Exclusive list, the one that empowers the central government to control the mineral resources of Nigeria. Do you know that no state is allowed to touch their own mineral resources by law? A state cannot say, because we have crude oil, we want to sign a contract with, want to sign a deal with an oil producing company to come and extract their crude oil. They can't do it. The center has to be the only one to do it. So this is why the old tax nonsense is a fraud. But Nigeria itself is a fraud. The way the whole thing is kind of like put together is a total fraud. It is not a real place. It's not a real country. So if you want to do any, that's why some people are saying that if Nigeria is not going to break up, how about Nigeria do what is called true federalism? So true federalism in Nigeria is also a very straightforward one. Put it this way. True federalism simply means the federating unit controls their resources. And controlling your resources is not about going to somewhere to collect money. There will be no money from Abuja again, except for the poor states, very poor states where they can get subvention and what have you from the center. So true federalism simply means the Zamfara people can decide to ignore their gold and live in poverty, or ignore all their mineral resources and all that, or they can decide to sign with, investors who are going to come in and build industries around their mineral resources, create jobs, create wealth. That's true federalism. It simply means that there will be no money from Abuja. So this oil producing, or all the states that have oil in Nigeria, oil and gas, they can sign deals without the federal government, okay? They can open the seaports, they can open dry ports, they can create establish their own refineries. That is what you call true federalism, even though you are practicing fake federalism in that contraption. So talking about tax reform is actually act of gullibility. I know the propaganda has worked on so many of you enough that you believe that Tinubu's tax reform is in your interest. It is not. Okay, it is absolute nonsense. But it is Nigeria. Nothing ever makes any real sense from that place. So the true federalism allows people to use what they have in creating their own wealth and then pay a certain amount of taxes to the center, And then, there's always going to be rooms for the central government to still make money and tax what they need to tax, all right? But you don't tax businesses that are operating within the states, right? And then you are sharing the money from that taxes and say you are doing tax reform. Is absolute bollock. Or it may be very difficult to convince a lot of people who believe that is actually a good thing when it is not. Listen to this.
It's about talk, and Nigerians are not seeing the action. You don't print out the economic, blue paper without Nigerians feeling the reality of how the governance system is supposed to operate. If there's one of the statement from the spokesperson, it will leave me bewildered, because it's very embarrassing for you to say this advice is needless when the statistics are obvious. When you look at it, about 56% of Nigerians are living, in multidimensional poverty. That's about 129 million Nigerians. If you look at the fact that we have the last statistic that was released by the MBS, you have 2.2 trillion paid to kidnappers. That 2 million Nigerians were kidnapped, and that means our farm system is not. People can't go to farm. People are not secured on government places. We have about 39.6 million arable land to farm on, and Nigerians are not utilizing it. The president has made promises about trying to dive into agriculture and till 500 hectares farmland. He has not kept that. There's no reality that is more obvious than the hunger on the streets of Nigeria. The Nigerians are suffering, and the pain is obvious, and the lack of physical discipline within this government, for them to be able to have a budgetary provisions that will actually drive poverty out of the country, for them to have a budgetary provision that is not self-serving or self-seeking. Because if you look at the current budget, about 4 billion has been budgeted to build jetties and helipad in Lagos, about 4.6 billion to buy vehicles, 5.4 billion to renovate the presidential villa, and 9.4 billion for trips and entertainment for the president and the vice president. This kind of budgetary system, that has these repeated line items, will not take Nigeria out of poverty. And for the APC to not see a thought out advice that will help the Nigerian economy to grow and develop, and then have a system that is responsive and respect the true situation of this country. The statistics is not something we produce or people outside manufacture. It's even coming from government. So the reality on the street is what we talk about. You can't have a system where you have this level of kidnapping. You have a system that one of the primary purpose of government is that government must be able to provide for security for life and property. And when government fail to do that, and government need to seek necessary help from those who can give them the advice. So whatever Peter Obi has said today about the very dark situation that Nigeria found itself since Bola Ahmed Tinubu took over is the reality. Because if you look at our debt, we were at 87 trillion. When over the last 20 months, our debt had jumped from 87 trillion to 130 trillion. in the last 20 months. And so what are we doing with the money? Is this money being put into productive use or used to serve the exorbitant, luxurious lifestyles of those in government? So we need government to come to us hard questions. We don't need these rhetorics that people come about and say, oh, my friend was driving a limousine or something and now he drives a Honda. You should imagine that those who were driving Honda, what are they driving today? Those who are driving machine, what are they driving today? So you should look at how that cascading process, they've into making more Nigerians go into poverty. So we can't have a situation where we cannot talk about hard reality, but we concentrate on the cheap talk and then try to promote something that is non-existent. So we must sit down as a people and continue to speak to the government so that the government will see that the need for more physical discipline, physical responsibility to be able to design this country in a way that the resources of this country work for the people on the street, work for the masses, work for the Nigerian workforce, so that we can have a system that is progressive. The president talk about it.
Because it's all talk. That's what they like. Keep telling you that it is working. But you are accumulating debt. And there's nothing to show for it. I'm glad you mentioned that as well. On this platform, we have been tracking the indebtedness that Nigeria has been incurring since this Tifnumbu and his gang took charge. On my own last count, right? If you have to convert the $15 billion they have taken in 20 months to the exchange rate of today, so we are talking about 20, let me see, that should be like about 27, 28 trillion naira. Now, if you add that to what Tifnumbu and his gang has printed in the last 20 months as well, over 24 trillion, add all of this together, that's over 50 trillion naira in a space of 20 months. If I ask you where is the money now, they will begin to foam in the mouth and say that we are negative and negative. Where is the money? What do you think Tifnumbu and his gang used over 50 trillion naira, borrowed money? This is not even with supposed revenue they generated. But this is how much money they have borrowed on account. And if you ask them, what did they use the money for in the last 20 months, they will tell you that, you should give them time and stop being negative. You know what? Let's leave Nigeria for a while. Let's go to Ghana. So I think it was about 4 days ago. Okay. The outgoing president of Ghana, Nana Akufor, Addo, the man that was their own Bokuwari, the man that the young people in Ghana 8 years ago, right, brought to power because they felt like they deserved better. They said John Mahama, Dramani Mahama, then they said his government was so corrupt, so inefficient, it was inept, it was this, that. And that was the government that was actually building them infrastructures. For example, like renovated the airport that was Kotoka. Is that what it's called? Kotoka Airport or something? So beautiful, right? That was that year, okay? That 8 years after, Akufor Addo renovated the gates and they threw a funfair, like a big party, okay? And the person who built the airport, what is supposed to do? Similarly, they use propaganda to win Ghanaians. Today, Ghana is in more debt, economic ruin, joblessness, and dilapidated infrastructures as well. 8 years of this Akufor Addo, well, like Nigeria, he gave himself a pass mark until his aide camp collapsed behind him.
His role as a bulwark of Ghana's democracy and development. Moreover, the Law House, a modern facility for the Office of the Attorney General, has now been completed. Mr. Speaker,
But fair enough, he allowed a free and fair election in December. That was last month. Okay, just like Bokwari in Nigeria, Akufor Addo made some unscrupulous elements so rich, like this recharge card seller, Bashiru Ahmed Abi, whatever his name is, a recharge card seller on the side street of Kano, became a presidential advisor that now flies private, business class all over the place today. Is rich enough, but that is just a simple. Another person is his personal secretary, Tunde Sapitu, a multi-billionaire thief, right? Who was so powerful enough that his own security, right, disarmed the supposed Ashishe Bukwari, the Aisha's security.